Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you a little bit about how you can gray box by actually editing meshes. So in previous videos or in previous engines, we've done stuff very similar to this, where we'd come in and maybe just move some stuff around, would scale it, maybe rotate it, and would be in pretty good shape. But this time, you can still do that, right? So I'm going to actually grab a lot of this stuff here, and I'm going to delete it and talk a little bit about. So right now, you saw that I deleted everything, but now there's this weird shadow or this black stuff that's on the mesh. So this is where building comes back into it. So right now, I'm going to go ahead. So I could say build the lighting only, and it'll get rid of that. And I'll go ahead and do that. So let's do that. So I'm going to say build lighting only. And what it's going to do, previously, it was all baked in, because baked lighting is by default always on. So as it builds this lighting, it should take care of that. And again, I'm going to pause it because it can take a little bit of time to bake these things. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it and let it do its thing. There we go. And it's disappeared. Now I have my scene back. So anytime I add geometry or remove geometry, it's always good to rebuild that lighting, or even just do a complete build all the way through. So, all right, so let's get in here. So one thing we can do in this scene here is let's get rid of, all right, we know what we'll do is we'll make these walls. Let's make our level a little bit bigger. I should grab them all. So we can see I grabbed everything, right? So what I can do here, let's see if I can find the way to do this. I'm going to right click on all these. I'm going to go down to group, and I'm going to go ahead and group those. So you can see here I have these groups, and what it'll do now is anytime I select it, they're all together. And I can also right click on it, group, and I can unlock it or ungroup it. Unlock it lets it opens up, and I can grab one piece now and do whatever I want to it. Then I can grab it again, and I can go to group, and then I can say lock. Or I can take it off of that group, or I can ungroup it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'm going to lock this here. So now it's all one group. And I'm going to come in and let's see, I'm going to scale this up a bit. Didn't quite do what I thought it was going to, but let's do this. Oh, you know what? Let's change this from local. Let's see if it'll allow me to do it with a group. It doesn't look like I can. So I'm going to go ahead and, for this instance, it's not really great, so I'm going to ungroup everything. Let's see what happens. So you see how everything's moving at once. Really what I want to do is, let's scale this. There we go. I'll grab these. I just want to make a bigger level. There we go. I'm just going to stretch these guys all the way through. Let's actually bring them to the end here. Scale them out. There we go. And then just grab this guy. We'll move him down here. We'll move this guy down here. We'll grab these two. And when I scale these out now, I can just build them. I'm just building way more area so I can move. I can make a bigger level. There we go. So now I have this giant level, right? And let's grab my little character here and hit him. So yep, now we have a bigger area to move around in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab a cube and drop it in here. And I don't really like the stock white that is in there. It's not really my favorite thing to look at. It's kind of bright. So what I'm going to do is inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and type in MA. So materials will come up, as you can see here. And I'm just going to grab a basic floor and drag that onto it. And just give this a little bit of color there. We'll get into materials later on, but just for now, that's what we'll do. So when I'm in here and I want to start building some levels, I can say, sure, you know what? I'm going to come in here and say, I know that this, you should have a blueprint to say it, but I know that I'm going to have a level here. Maybe it's a wall. I'll put that there and maybe play around with it. And you can see you're limited to just scaling this thing around, rotating it and moving it. But now what we want to do is say I want to build something else and I want to have some different shapes to it. So I could come in here, and if I want to duplicate this, if I want to duplicate this guy, there's a couple things I can do. I can select it, hit Control C, Control V. Whoops. Control C, Control V, and that will duplicate it. Or I can hold down Control Alt and then move it and it'll duplicate it. So that's a couple different ways to be able to duplicate your object. So, and again, if I wanted to right in here, I can come in and bring this 90 degrees and move this around and say, oh, I want a wall here. Maybe I want to make this a little bit thicker. I can do this kind of stuff. So, right, and we can start blocking things out that way. But what's really cool is if I go into geometry, and you can see you get a bunch of different stuff: sphere, spiral stair, linear, curve. So I can say, let's just take a curved, take this curved stair set here, right? We'll rotate that over. Whoops. Maybe bring it up to what we were just working on, right? So now we know we have these steps coming up here. Maybe we'll raise this a little bit more so it matches up pretty good. So now we have some stairs here. So now that we have this little here, let's talk a little bit about editing objects. So if we go into geometry here, and I'm just going to grab a box and drop it down here. So what I'm going to do next is go up into modes, and I'm going to go ahead and hit brush editing. If you look up here, it added a little editing tab. So at this point, if I go into edit, I can grab my vertices, hold down Control, I can grab a couple of them. I can grab my edge. Or try to. There I have my edge. I can move that around. I can move my vertices around. Or I can grab my faces and move them around. All right, so if I want to make this a bigger box, I can do that. Oops. If I grab these, it's going to make a bigger box. Now, one thing that's kind of cool that I can do as well is if I want a line down there, if I go ahead and hit extrude, it's just going to change my coordinate system up here. I can grab this here and move it out. Now I have an edge down the middle, and if I wanted to, I could extrude that out again, and then maybe grab this top one and extrude that out. And I'm starting to build this little wall here. If I wanted to, maybe I'll grab both of these, hold down Control, and drag that out. And now if I want, I can come here. Maybe I'll grab these four here, and we'll bring this down a little bit. All right, so I built this little ramp. If I want to, I can grab these and drag these out. Whoops. Got to go to extrude. And we'll bring that out a little bit. And you can see how you can just start building things as you go through this, right? So it's kind of a cool way. This is just the simple stuff that I want to show you. And again, maybe I'll grab some vertices here, holding down Control, and I'll build this into some kind of ramp. Grab the faces, extrude the faces here. And make sure I'm on extrude. I'm not going to say don't show that again. I don't need to know that every time. And I can drag that out. All right. So it allows you to do a lot of different things here. And if we come back over, right, I'm going to go ahead and hit, I'm going to hit build. So it's going to do everything. Let me pause it while that goes through. All right. Now that this is all built out, I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And we have our little first person over here. And we can see now I have this little ramp. I can have them run up. It can be anything I want it to be, which is kind of nice. So that's, if you want to do some, it's very simple modeling. It's just extruding some edges. So you can scale these things. And let me jump out of here for a second. Go back in. You can scale things as well. So if I grab, let's say I grab these up here and I go to my scale. Whoops. I can scale these down, right? Or I should be able to. Let me grab one and scale this down. There we go. So you can start scaling these things around if you want to. You can see when I can't scale, it turns yellow, but if I want to scale one of them, it'll allow me to. I'm not sure why it doesn't let you do both, but that's not allowing me to. But again, you can scale some of these things down if you want to. All right, I can rotate it if I want to as well. Oh, I guess you can't rotate as well as much as I thought you could. But you can really build some crazy stuff here, right? And then at some point, what I'm doing here is I'm holding down Alt, and it's putting a material on everything, right? So it's not that checker box anymore. So now if I come back in, I can still come in and select stuff and extrude it and do whatever I want to it, right? It's just giving it a material versus having the checker pattern on there. But you can do a lot. I don't know what that guy did there, but you can do a lot of cool stuff to build out, and you can just build new ones. And this will work with any of these objects. So if I take a cylinder and bring it in, right now, one thing that I can do over here is I can add sides to it, right, to make it a lot rounder over here. And again, I can do anything I want with it. If I come in here and go to, let's see, whoop, let's hit F to get close to this thing here, and let's see, where can I make some stuff up? I can grab this, go to extrude, right, and I can add to it, and there's just a lot of cool stuff that you can do with this. So just go ahead and do that. If I want to, I can take my base color, just throw that on there. Right, so there's a lot of stuff that you can do as you go through here. Okay, that's it. Just a very quick video on how to use the editor to build out your blueprints. Okay, so one thing I wanted to show here is something else that you can do. So I'm going to grab this box here, and let's see, we'll grab the top, we'll extrude it up a little bit. Actually, I don't want to extrude that. I just want to move that. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Make this a little bit bigger. So now that we have this thing here, I'm going to go ahead and grab another box, drop it in here. And now in my details, I'm going to scroll down to here where it says brush type, and I'm going to change that to subtractive. And now watch what happens when I bring that in. I'll take this, and it cuts a hole in it, right? So that's pretty cool that you can do that. So before I even do that, I'm going to grab this guy, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to hit Control C, Control V, because I want it to be in the exact same spot. I'm going to go ahead to my scaling, and I'm going to bring that down really small. And then I'm going to go ahead and scale this just a bit. Let's see, right about there looks pretty good. We'll go here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to change that to subtractive. So now I've built a little inside part there, right? So if I go ahead and grab this again, and let's see, I'll bring this guy through here. And let's maybe scale this. We'll make this like a door or something, right? I don't need it that big. Maybe bring that down to the floor. Maybe make it a little taller. Whoops. Here we go. So now I have a door. I can look at my player. I have this giant door here. I'll even come in here and grab the top of it. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And now I have a little interior. So one thing you can notice too, and watch this. Let's do this. Let me climb out of here, and I'm going to go ahead and build everything up again real quick. This should only take a minute. And the lighting should be a lot different inside of there. Right now everything's kind of lit, but once my lighting gets through this, it should be a lot darker. It's going to cast shadows in there. Lighting's building right now, so just keep an eye on it, and we should see it snap into some pretty cool looks in there. So let's wait for it. There we go. So now I have that in there. So if I hit play and I go to walk in there, all right, can't really see what's going on. It's a little bit dark, but if I wanted to, I could go ahead and go to my basics, just grab a light, drop it in there. Or pretend to, right? There we go. And I can do so. I can have that in there and hit play, and now I have a light. Cool. So that's just a little bit to show you that you can do some pretty cool things with those blueprints. Sorry, with using the editing. Subtractive.